mean, tonight I could get a call on something like that. We had one down here, let me see, very close to Geelong, where there was a foal eaten out. We were left with, I think it was 3 legs, spine and skull. And that foal, the vet examined that foal and said, oh, there's nothing suspicious about it at all. It's been eaten by dogs. That foal was killed by a blow to the head, like I was demonstrating with the skull, that forced one eye out of its socket. Dogs don't do that. It just doesn't, it's not part of their repertoire. And we made a pretty good photographic record of it. If I'd had the capacity to do something with the DNA at the time, it would have been one of the best chances we ever had. It's time's of the essence. The DNA breaks down pretty rapidly. Sunshine, weather, just the acidic nitrate soils is enough to destroy it very rapidly.
So what's your time factor then?
Look at it this way, if I got a hot call now and I was organised and felt well enough, I'd be up there immediately.
But I mean, in a lot of these kills, the farmer doesn't find the kill
quite frequently,
for a day or two, and then you have to get organised and so on. So you're looking at a week. Is that too far? Or?
Yeah, way too far.
Yeah, so you're looking at 24, 48 hours.
The ideal situation is somebody goes outside and there's a steaming carcass by the back door. That would be the ideal. But of course, just on my little place, just getting around to look at all the stock every day is almost impossible. So it can be random. Yeah. Anyway. Yep.
In terms of time frame, when you're talking about the DNA material from scats,
yes,
I take it it's a longer time frame there.
You've got it's marginal. The point about scat, of course, is it's covered with mucus when it's.
And that's the principle that your DNA material would be.
The ideal would be fresh mucus from it. What we're looking for is epithelial cells where there's been, with other scenarios, from the inside of the mouth and tongue, where they've been, the animal is actually, the panther, if it is a panther, has been chewing the ribs. It's a classic example. You've got a good chance of getting some material then, but it doesn't last. It doesn't last.
Do you have photographs on your website?
Yes, I do. In fact, if anybody's interested, and I hope if you've gone to all this trouble to come here tonight, you are, www.bigcatsbig.com. I'd be interested if you had a look, and I'd love your comments at any time. You can always ring me. If you think it could use a facelift or a bit of zapping up, we'd love to hear. We really would. I worked with a chap by the name of John Turner, who had a similar experience to me with one of these cats. And he was actually fishing and turned around, and the cat was sitting behind him watching him. Now, it wasn't threatening in any way, but it was paying attention to what he was up to. The minute he turned, it got up and dusted itself off very quickly, but it had come up to have a look at him, and it felt very comfortable watching him until he'd made the mistake of being seen. So he, like me, was collecting information for about 40 years too, and then they teamed up, and along with David and a number of other enthusiasts, Malcolm again, somebody else who's got a serious interest in this phenomenon. We swap notes whenever we can and just try and build a bigger picture.
You mentioned the cat behind your friend, and you said that you saw one, and there was the other story of a crew being rushed.
Yes.
Whereas all your other evidence has been animal kills.
No, not all male evidence. No, I'm saying that's the evidence I look at, obviously. Yeah. But I do collect people's reports.
Do you think that we are at risk of a human attack?
I would like to say no, but I suppose if we're going to be realistic, possibly one day somebody will do something wrong. There was a certain Melbourne girls' school sent some students, I think they were about 14 years old, on a good junket holiday to the Otways with several of their teachers, and they went for a walk in the park. Let me see. It was near one of the major waterfalls at the back of Lawn. I can't remember the exact location. There's too many flitting through my head all the time. But this particular scenario was where they had walked to the end of a given track, and it's granite country in the spot they were at. So there's big boulders everywhere. They walked to the end, they were running out of daylight, so they started walking back, and everybody's cheerful and chatting, etc., etc. Next to them, a few metres away, and there was 2 teachers and about 7 girls, I think. One teacher fore and aft. There was a very definite loud growl. Now, when people say that to me, I say, "You're listening to koalas, mate." You know, I like to really, not stymie people, but you've got to make them work at it if they're going to try and describe something. And they said, no, it was like something from television. It was a loud, threatening growl. Now, this particular scenario, the girls all got a bit excited. You know, they didn't actually perceive danger. 2 teachers, extremely upset, extremely worried, because everyone had heard of these rumours, but it meant nothing to them. So they just said to the girls, "Come on, hurry up, don't run, walk, but we're going back now." The teacher who I spoke to, and she was extremely agitated, she said to me that as she looked to her left, there was a tail sticking up, keeping pace with them, about from me to you away. Now, keeping pace with them, and another low growl. Now, one of the things about felines is when they're feeling agitated, the erect tail is a sign. When a lion charges, when that tail goes up, it means business. It's going to come in low and fast. Now, this animal was upset, and it followed them for maybe 50 to 100 metres. The first thing she did was she rang Parks. First thing Parks did was ring, might have been Winchelsea Police, who rang me, thanks very much, like I'm on the payroll. And but they weren't allowed to breach their privacy, but they gave me some pretty handy hints. And I managed to track this lady down, and I had one conversation with her, and she was extremely unhappy, very unhappy. And the one thing she said is, "What's somebody going to do about this?" And of course, I can't run around holding hands. Nobody's going to do anything about this. This is just her issue with the fact that government wouldn't take it seriously. She'd also contacted the Department of Conservation, and they told her that she'd seen a feral cat. This woman was no fool. She knew what she saw. But the tail going along. Now I've got a theory. It just may be that there was a juvenile present, and the adult was just saying, "You leave us alone." You know? But to date, we don't have any records of anybody actually being hurt. There is one persistent story that cryptozoologists, if you like the expression, do still talk about. And there was a manhunt on Wilson's Promontory some years ago for a youngster, young teenager who had somebody with serious learning difficulties. He was not somebody that should have been left on his own. Disappeared. Biggest manhunt in Victorian history. They've never found a trace. Nothing. And something that we've conjectured about is maybe somebody should have looked up a tree. Because anybody that is hurt or injured by big cats normally, there's a specific target group of people that, if you look at statistics, as I do, that are hit. And they are youngsters under 3, all wobbly, you know, head going side to side, running like crazy. I saw a zoo lion, a Melbourne zoo once, leave where it was asleep on a rock, dash 30 metres at a fence where somebody's kid was running along like this. Same sort of thing. It just sets off a predator. Absolutely sets them off, especially a feline predator. They react. They don't think, they just react. I reckon that that's the sort of situation that could result in somebody getting hurt. Somebody running, somebody who's not adult, not big enough to look threatening or intimidating. Now, the other group of people, apart from children, tend to be older women in third world countries who spend an awful lot of time bending and picking stuff up and carrying things. They are just so easy for a predator to knock over. Most human kills by lions, of which there are several hundreds every year in southern Africa, they are almost invariably women going about their daily work, drawing water, cutting grass, carrying wood, putting themselves in a position where they're close to cover, and of course they're bent double. You know, it's just like they're an invitation. I'm not putting any value judgments on any of this. I just think it's noteworthy that there is statistics there. So if somebody's going to get hurt here, it's possible they'll be a child. If these animals exist, I can't prove they exist. That's what I'm looking at doing, because I believe there's there's sufficient rumour, as rumour has it, that they could well be here. And I think it's a worthy way to spend what's left of my retirement. Yeah. Okay, Pete.
How long ago was the school event?
That would be going back to No, it wouldn't be. We'd be going back to about 2004 or 5.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I can't pull those figures
No.
out. It gets hard.
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, the reportings over the last 30 or 40 years, have they increased or decreased? Do you think that maybe there were more of these cats 30 or 40 years ago?
I doubt it very much. I reckon that what's the most likely situation is reportage has never been as good as it is today. The newspaper people tend to be a bit more thorough, a bit more careful about what they ask. I can't say that for television reporters, unfortunately, but I think the situation in the past was, I think David would agree with me, so much hearsay was what was used in newspaper reports, and nothing was backed up or verified. There was no comparisons made. Today we're in a much better position but when it comes down to the numbers of animals involved, who knows? We just don't have the foggiest. But it seems to me there's more reportage today. But I think it's in the public Yeah, no.
Simon, you mentioned distribution from Penola in South Australia up to the east of Blue Mountain. Well, just to complete the picture, a tremendous lot of reports from Western Australia, and we are getting some from southern Queensland. I know 2 cases of people seeing in the southeast Queensland, no more than 20 feet away, in broad daylight. One was my sister-in-law, so I no doubt that she was telling me the truth.
Yep, beautiful, thank you. I sort of left Western Australia out of it a bit because I was spreading my wings too far. But that's a very valid point. There is a persistent series of anecdotes that are very, very, very powerful from southwestern Australia. Right. Any more questions?
It'd be rather difficult for them to cross the Nullarbor. There'd have to be a separate...
It may well have been during the flash times in Western Australia, a similar sort of situation with lots of animals being moved around. And once again, maybe some sort of, I know this sounds crazy, but some sort of evil scientist let some go on purpose. You know, anything is possible, but we just don't know.
Thanks, Simon. There'll be some more time to speak, so
Yep,
thanks, Simon. Before we bring up, give them a round of applause.